After the ambitious yet troubled release of Windows NAFIS, the New Jersey operating system company embarked on an even more daring project. They called it Windows Codename Artera. This new operating system was intended to revolutionize user experience with its advanced features and seamless integration. Windows Codename Artera refers to a specific development codename for a version of the Microsoft Windows operating system. Microsoft often uses codenames for their projects during the development phase, before the official name is released. For example, Windows XP was codenamed Whistler, and Windows 7 was codenamed Blackham and later Vienna. The development team, driven by high expectations and tight deadlines, worked around the clock. They often joked about the near supernatural dedication required to meet their goals. Little did they know, their efforts would indeed venture into the supernatural. As the launch date approached, strange occurrences began to plague the team. It started innocuously enough, a few corrupted files here and there, some unexplained crashes. But the anomalies soon escalated. Files would inexplicably vanish from the development servers, only to reappear with strange, unreadable names. During late-night coding sessions, the team would hear faint whispers emanating from their speakers, growing louder and more insistent. At first, they dismissed it as interference or perhaps fatigue playing tricks on their minds. But then, the whispers became coherent, forming words and sentences in a language none could recognize. Despite these eerie disturbances, the team pressed on. They were determined to see Artera completed. But as the final build approached completion, the phenomena intensified. Computers would power on by themselves, screens flickering with distorted images. The whispers turned into voices, speaking directly to the developers, their tones urgent and menacing. Then came the loud noises. Random bursts of static and high-pitched tones would erupt from the speakers, causing panic and confusion. Desperate to understand what was happening, the team began to investigate the origins of these disturbances. They scoured the code for clues, hoping to find a logical explanation. To their horror, they discovered hidden messages buried deep within the operating system's architecture. These messages hinted at something ancient and malevolent, an entity that had somehow infiltrated their creation. It seemed as though Artera had become a conduit for this dark presence. Despite their best efforts, the team could not exorcise the entity from their code. They were left with a terrible choice: release the operating system and risk unleashing this malevolent force upon the world, or abandon the project and face financial ruin. In the end, the New Jersey operating system company chose the latter. Windows Codename Artera was quietly shelved, its development files sealed away in the hope that the entity would remain contained. The team disbanded, their dreams of revolutionizing the tech world shattered. But whispers of Artera's existence persisted, circulating through dark corners of the internet. Those who dared to seek out the forbidden operating system often found themselves ensnared by its eerie allure, their fates unknown. Alex was known for his contributions to creating stable and intuitive operating systems. But by night, he harbored a secret passion that few knew about, an obsession with the darker, more arcane aspects of technology. Alex had always been fascinated by the potential of computers to transcend mere calculation and data processing. He believed that there was a hidden, mystical layer to technology, one that could tap into unknown dimensions of reality. His curiosity led him to explore ancient texts and forbidden knowledge, seeking to merge the realms of the digital and the occult. Alex had always been a meticulous worker, often staying late into the night to ensure his projects were perfect. One day, as he was organizing his basement, he stumbled upon a dusty old box tucked away in a corner. Inside, he found a stack of documents and a single DVD-ROM labeled Windows Artera. Curiosity piqued, Alex brought the DVD-ROM upstairs to his study. He powered on his computer, inserted the disk, and began the installation process. The software installed smoothly, and soon, the familiar hum of his machine filled the room, as Windows Artera booted up for the first time. At first glance, the operating system seemed ordinary, but as Alex explored its features, he noticed subtle differences. The interface was sleek, almost too advanced for its time, and it had an eerie, otherworldly quality to it. Intrigued, he delved deeper into the system's capabilities, discovering hidden files and encrypted folders that seemed to call out to him. That night, Alex stayed up late, driven by an insatiable need to uncover the secrets of Windows Artera. As he navigated through the system, strange occurrences began to happen. The whispers he had heard in his previous experiments returned, louder and more insistent. The screen flickered with disturbing images, and the air in the room grew thick with an unexplainable sense of dread. Undeterred, Alex pressed on. He found references to a mysterious entity embedded within the operating system's code, an ancient force that had been bound to the digital world through the Dark Codex. The more he uncovered, the more he realized that Windows Artera was not just an operating system, it was a conduit for this malevolent presence. As the clock struck midnight, the disturbances reached a fever pitch. The whispers became coherent voices, speaking in an ancient tongue that Alex couldn't understand but felt compelled to obey. The room seemed to pulse with energy, the lights flickering in rhythm with the voices. With trembling hands, Alex opened a hidden folder labeled Release. Inside, he found a single executable file named Awaken.exe. A sense of foreboding washed over him, but his curiosity and obsession drove him to click it. The moment he did, the screen went black, and the whispers ceased. For a brief moment, there was silence. Then, the computer screen flared to life, displaying a symbol Alex had seen in the Dark Codex, a sigil of binding. The room grew colder, and Alex could feel a presence looming behind him. He turned, but there was nothing there. The whispers returned, now inside his mind, urging him to complete the ritual. Desperate to understand what he had unleashed, Alex pored over the remaining documents. He discovered that the entity had been bound to the operating system as a means to control its power. By activating Awaken.exe, he had released the entity from its digital prison. Realizing the gravity of his mistake, Alex tried to shut down the computer, but it wouldn't respond. The entity had taken control. The whispers grew louder, now a cacophony of demands and threats. Alex knew he had to find a way to contain the entity before it spread beyond his computer and into the physical world. Alex sat in front of his computer, the air thick with tension. The whispers had become unbearable, and the entity's presence felt suffocating. Desperation and fear gripped him, as he realized he had to put an end to this once and for all. His eyes landed on a single option within Windows Artera's control panel: Delete Operating System. With trembling hands, Alex clicked on the option. For a brief moment, everything seemed normal. But then, his screen turned an ominous shade of red, displaying a terrifying red screen of death. The whispers turned into agonized screams, and the room felt as if it was collapsing in on itself. Alex's computer crashed, the screen going completely dark. Heart pounding, he forced himself to reboot the computer. As it powered back up, he was greeted by a blank screen. Every system file had been wiped clean. The entity had been purged, but at a high cost. Knowing that the threat could never be allowed to resurface, Alex took the PVP-ROM, snapped it in half, and threw the pieces into the trash. Exhausted and shaken, Alex knew his computer was beyond his ability to repair. He took it to a nearby computer shop, hoping against hope that they could salvage it. The technicians at the shop listened to his story with a mixture of skepticism and concern but agreed to take a look. After several hours, the technicians managed to restore Alex's computer to its original state, erasing all traces of Windows Artera. The relief Alex felt was palpable. His computer was back to normal, and the haunting presence was gone. Despite the ordeal, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that he had narrowly escaped a far greater danger. He returned home, determined to move on from the experience. He buried the remnants of the PVP-ROM deep in his trash, making sure they would never be found again. Over time, Alex's life returned to a semblance of normalcy. He continued his work in software development, but he never again delved into the darker side of technology. The whispers and the entity became a distant memory, a cautionary tale he kept to himself. Yet, the story of Windows Artera lived on in hushed whispers among underground tech circles, a dark legend of a haunted operating system and the programmer who dared to unleash its power. And though Alex had destroyed the PVP-ROM, he knew that curiosity and ambition would always drive others to seek out the forbidden. He could only hope that no one else would ever awaken the malevolent force he had barely survived.